10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
And good evening to each and every one of you out there. It is a Competition Plus Power Hour. I'm Lee Kraft, a.k.a. the Monday Morning Racer. And over there, that way, man, I always get that wrong, Dave Weslowski. And he is the local statistician and does a great job with the stats and also has done a great job in archiving drag racing, knows his drag racing. We're going to have him on here for a little while until we get Darren Williams Jr. on the show. He was stuck in traffic apparently and doing some training with his day job. He's actually in the green room, but I'm going to keep him there for a little while. Dave, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty well. I'd imagine that the weather is much nicer than wherever you're at than it is here, with a temperature currently in the low 20s and 2 inches of snow on the ground. Definitely doesn't feel like drag race season this time of year for sure.
Hey, drag racing has certainly moved south.
Yes,
that
yes,
is
it has.
The only place where it can take place. It would be cool to see drag racing indoors once again, like they used to do in Chicago many, many, many years ago for I think it was only like a 310-foot track, and they had to go in between the columns of the building itself. It'd be interesting to see that again indoors. I don't know if anyone's quite crazy enough to try that again. I don't know if any fire marshal or any insurance carrier would accept that you're going to do what indoors. But yes, it has all gone south. And by the way, I don't know if you've seen it. I saw the news that, speaking of down south in Florida, Bradenton, Florida, there at Bradenton Motorsports Park, Mark Mickey, wow. A 535 at 272 miles per hour in a turbo pro mod to break the world record.
Yes. And that was Jose Gonzalez was driving the car, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
535.9, 272.94. Amazing. Just amazing. I mean, this is kind of like, I mean, I'm sure obviously the weather conditions and the temperature has very much aided it, but at the same time, I'd love to see now we're opening the realm of possibility of putting a door car against a top alcohol funny car, and let's let them eat.
I mean, man, also 272 miles per hour, something
Right.
with a suspension for one, with doors. That's not honestly far from 300 miles per hour. That is
Right.
absolutely insane.
Oh, it sure is. And I can't even imagine what the sensation and what that thing feels like if it's rocking on the tire. I mean, I'm sure the suspension at that point is pretty solid, but you got to just be waiting for those chutes to hit.
I can only imagine. And obviously, it being a turbo combination, they don't leave the hardest of all the combinations. But if you could ever get it to leave harder, quicker, faster, and it be a turbo and have all of that steam on the top end, I mean, the potential, wow.
Well, and the ET record is there, but I believe Troy Coughlin still has the speed record, 274.83. I don't know if that has ever been eclipsed back at Las Vegas at the U.S. Street Nationals a few years back. But 272 is getting there.
It is getting there. That is wild that a door car. I mean, yes. It's just hard to think, funny car is, yes, it's got a body on it, but in essence, it's pure race car the way they are
Right.
now. They're aerodynamic wedges, basically, and it's pure race car. Maybe not in the hyper sense of a top fuel dragster, but pure race car. A door car is still trying to be something on the road. even at a pro mod, like they have kept something or some resemblance of what a street car is, though obviously we're not talking about a street car. We're talking about a full-on, yes, race car, but not to the fullest extent of we're going to modify in such a heavy way that we're going to optimize everything. And yet that's a whole lot of optimization on a platform. Man.
Well, and the thing that kills me too is if you look at the incremental times, he was 357 at 219 to the 8th mile. Now, we know some of these outlaw 8th mile events, they've been quicker than that. So if you could get it down low and get it to stick all the way through the quarter, it kind of makes you wonder how quick could you get a door car to last to the finish line? How low can they actually go? If you can keep the gearing right and get the motor to last, kind of like we talk about, yeah, the Top Fuel and Funny cars are really flying to the 8th mile and the 1,000 foot, but they got a short wick on that fuse. So
yes,
could it last to a 1320?
And you also have to bring into question, can any of the other combinations, as we understand them now, do this? I think the turbo guys are the ones with the most legs to stretch when it comes to an attempt like this, especially compared to the nitrous guys. They need more cubic inch, I would think. They need more of the gas to get it done. And I'm not sure the blower guys would be able to do this either. Seems like turbo is the way to go if you're going to do something of this nature.
Yeah, correct. Because you definitely need that big back half. So, I mean, again, we're talking about just shy of 220 at the 8th and over 272 at the finish line. I mean, that's like Nitro Funny Car back halves. That's what we're picking up in Top Fuel and Funny Car, putting that kind of 50-mile-an-hour spread on the second half of the track. So, yes, that turbo's kicking in, and it's doing what it needs to do. And it's, yes, drag racing's always been an ET game, but if you're going faster, you can get there quicker too.
Right. It's always fascinating in drag racing how the two don't always necessarily correlate. But hey, the faster you're going, I mean, theoretically, you're getting there quicker, supposedly. And it is interesting how that does work out. I think of Mixed Steel with the injected nitro funny car. They're down on speed, but the ET was there at Maple Grove. So, yeah, there you go. Hey, Andrew Osterhaus, he's got a question and looking to NHRA Pro Mod. He asks us, do you guys think NHRA's new Pro Mod weight breaks will bring more cars, or will it be like the failed Top Alcohol Funny Car attempt? Yeah, that was certainly a failed Top Alcohol Funny Car attempt with the nostalgia bodies, just certainly failed. And I think even a weight break with Pro Mod, I skimmed over the weight breaks, and I don't think it's quite enough for those with older bodies. I think you need even more to make it advantageous for folks to come into the NHRA to attempt more fields. I'm not sure when we will ever see again 30-plus Pro Mods attempting to qualify for a race that is not the U.S. Nationals or not somewhere that is a traditional door slammer area. I'm not sure when that's going to happen anytime soon, no matter what breaks they provide.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, the weight break that they have recently announced goes 1959 and older. Is that correct?
If I remember correctly, yes. It's it's incremental over the years.
Right.
And like the older you get, the more breaks you do get for sure. But I think right now, if you are running a nostalgia body, and when I say nostalgia body, I mean that very loosely. We know with Pro Mods that even a nostalgia body is heavily modified to make it optimized within Pro Mod racing. Granted, they have the look and the essence of what they're attempting to portray. Nonetheless, I think it's just more advantageous to race other platforms than the NHRA, honestly. And there's so many places to choose from that if you have got that older body style, you might as well just stick to wherever you are and not go NHRA drag racing at this point. I still think that's the case.
Well, and it makes you wonder how many people are going to start dusting off the old 41 Willys, the old 57 Chevy. If you remember Josh Hernandez won the NHRA championship when it was the AMS staff leasing Pro Mod series way back in 05 with a 57 Chevy. Some of the other, 53 Corvette, you remember the bubble style Corvettes that were out there, and they were very popular even up to the probably 2010s. Melanie Troxel held the record in one of those bubble Corvettes. So how many of those get dusted off? I think it's good because the class, I don't want to say that it's turned kind of into pro stock light as far as parity, but a Chevrolet Camaro has won pretty much every national event, whether it's new or old, going back to Ricky Smith's win at Brainerd last year is the last time a make and model other than a Chevrolet Camaro has won, even in Pro Mod. So they got to do something to kind of spice up the show. It's getting a little stale.
I agree. It has become stale. And for everyone out there that champions Pro Mod to even take over something as Pro Stock, I don't understand the argument. They've got the same issues in NHRA Pro Mod right now that NHRA Pro Stock has, frankly. And until those issues are worked out and we have parity, not just on a combination level, but a business suit level too, if you will, of what does the car look like out there doing its thing, then no, I don't think it's an advantageous platform to be moved or jockeyed or anything of that nature. And well, if I only see Camaros on track, why should I stay in the stands and see it at all? And I hate to say that because I love Pro Mods. I grew up watching Pro Mods. I'm from a Pro Mod area of the country, but I remember going to Super Chevy shows, and you even in those would see a lot of different bodies from different eras and different times. And you could go to your local track, like a Shady Side Dragway, and you would see some outlaw stuff running at a place they probably shouldn't be running, but they were running it all out and in some cool cars. That's what we want.
That's what we need to bring back. And to go further than just that particular win streak, okay, let's throw out Ricky Smith at Brainerd. Let's throw that win out. Let's throw out the Toyota Camry that won Indy when Jeffrey Barker was driving back in 2021. You'd have to go all the way back to a Pontiac. The last time a Pontiac Firebird won was the Southern Nationals way back in 2021. Justin Bond was still driving one. So really the Corvette, the Firebird, the Camry, and the Mustang, aside, you throw those models out, and really the Camaro has pretty much won everything in Pro Mod since all the way back in 2017. So whether it's a new body style or an old body style, it would be nice to get back to what Pro Mod used to be. Get the old Studebakers out there. Get the old 57 Chevys out there. Get the old Willys back out there. Let's diversify the class. And is the weight break going to be advantageous enough for people to do that? I'm looking at that more than I am the car count. I don't think the car count's really going to change unless, like I say, some people bring these old cars out of the woodwork, update them to their current form, and let's see how they can go. But, I am of the same thought process that you are, that Pro Mod should be a diverse class, and it should be wow, they made that into a race car. Let's run what you brung kind of thing. And we have been missing that for a long time. We have been.
When you look at like the great Pro Mods that live on, you think of Charles Carpenter with his shoebox. He's like people are like, why that? And built that way with that type of power, and it lives on. You think of, I cannot remember the gentleman's name, but that's just it. Cars in the class live on, but the Lamborghini, I don't care if it never did anything. I don't remember it ever doing anything. But the fact of the matter is, it's stuck in my mind that there was a Lamborghini at one time in drag racing. I think of Scotty Cannon and the Beretta. That was basically a funny car with doors and skirting rules. Those type of cars live on. The Studebakers, like whoever had a Studebaker, it was just cool to see the Studebakers out there running against all the other cars that began to become typical out there in the class. So yes, there has to be diversity in that class for it to make sense. Look, we can live, I think, with Funny Car not looking as stock because of its nature. Though I would love to see more cars go toward the Supra and what they attempted to do in making it look more like the OEM ride. Granted, with the sights, sounds, and performance that they have, those outmeasure those body lines. And I think we can all live with that. But the fact is, Pro Mod, especially at NHRA National event, if you want people to stay in the stands, you need that diversity, because when it comes to performance, you're down on it compared to, well, a lot of things out there on the track. And you also have an issue of sights and sounds and smell. I mean, all of that. You are not on the ticket as a top tier item. It's just a reality. So diversify.
That's all we can hope for going forward. Please,
That's
guys, bring these classic cars out. Put the Camaros away. Bring the classic stuff out.
That's right. Curtis Thomas, no, you did not miss Chad Green. We'll have him on in just I don't want to say just a few moments, but we usually have the first guest around 9:30 Eastern time. And then, folks, we will have Quian Stott on. So those are the guests tonight. Chad Green, he won his first ever NHRA National event in Fuel Funny Car at the In-N-Out Burger NHRA Finals. Can still get that out. My goodness. And Quian Stott, the founder, establisher, and runner of Southeast Gassers Association, he sold to Mr. Leslie Horn, the chick magnet, and SEGA is in a new era. So we will be talking with him as well. Dave, we're going to take a break. And in taking a break, we're going to bring in Mr. Darren Williams Jr., American Hot Rod Entertainment, and continue the drag racing conversation right here on Competition Plus Power Hour. You all hit the like button, hit the share button as we take a break. This peak moment.
If you want to take your vehicle's performance to new heights, you got to give it P. Like our original equipment technology, antifreeze, and coolant. Our formulas match the vehicle manufacturer's technology requirements so that we have the perfect match for every vehicle. That's one reason why Peak is among the fastest growing brands of coolant in America. We work harder to earn the trust of people like you every day.
Darren Williams Jr., good to have you on. I figured I would allow you to come on and partake. And I see you still working on the do there, man. You're wearing that fine hat that you picked up from In-N-Out Burger Pomona Drag Strip.
What's up, everybody? Hope you guys had a amazing, happy Thanksgiving last weekend. And it's like, I wonder if anybody's had any withdrawals yet with drag racing. Well, NHRA season pretty much being over, but obviously, the Snowbird Nationals, this weekend. So, like you guys mentioned with Jose Gonzalez, 535, 272, amazing pass. So, a little bit of warm up for this weekend's race for sure.
Yes, it's going to be spectacular. Jim Halsey is the defending champion who did not win the championship in Pro Nitrous in PDRA. Tommy Franklin did that this year. It'll be interesting to see those two duke it out for the Snowbirds title. Melanie Salemi will be down there as well. Always a tough competitor. It is going to be a great show. I think personally, when it comes to these off-season races, the most prestigious door slammer pro mod race that there is. It's the one, it's the crown jewel. It's the one that you should go out there and win. And eventually one day I'll make it there, but not going to be there this year because PRI is coming up. Gentlemen, PRI, what are you expecting? What are you thinking will be announced concerning the NHRA?
Shoot, as far as right now, I have no idea. I'm just looking to go to PRI and taking it all in. It's my first PRI. I've heard that it can get pretty crazy with all the running around and interviews and trying to make connections and all this stuff and networking. So I'm looking forward to my first PRI. Don't know what to expect, but I'm pretty excited to see how it all plays out. But what to expect announcement wise from the NHRA, I have no idea whatsoever. I know they just announced their TV schedule for next year and some pretty interesting stuff for that came out. But I have to wait and see. I'm pretty excited though.
PRI, man, let me tell you, get to bed early and wake up early.
Yeah.
Don't let the after hours party suck you in.
What day is that too? It's so it's Thursday, Friday,
night.
Saturday.
It's usually Thursday night. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
They get it out of the way early.
It's smart. That's why you got to do it.
Yes.
The only year I ever went to PRI, they had what's his name from Street Out? A Big Chief was there signing autographs from Street Outlaws was at PRI, and I don't think half those people he was signing autographs for were industry insiders. I think they were kind of fans that got in there at some point because they knew Big Chief was going to be there, and it was like, oh, we got to meet this guy.
Yeah.
I didn't stop to talk to him, but yeah, definitely a good trade show, good place, like Darren mentioned, to network, trying to get new sponsor opportunities, trying to get stuff nailed down, and don't know what kind of announcements we'll see, but hopefully some new sponsorships and some maybe some big news racetrack wise. I mean, you never know what you might get over at that type of show.
For sure. And PRI, this is what I do expect. Now, when I say I expect, I do not mean that I have any insider information, but just that PRI is a place, especially for NHRA drag racing, even over SEMA, that big announcements are made. For example, go back that you have Alex Laughlin saying, hey, I'm going to be with Jim Dunn Racing. You have Ron Capps saying the formation of Ron Capps Motorsports, so on. Those are some examples. Big announcements happen at PRI. Greg Wilson, performance racing industry, in particular, we're talking about the performance racing industry trade show that, as Don Moore has mentioned, will be through the 7th and 9th of December in Indianapolis, Indiana. But I expect that we're going to finally learn that last TBD of the schedule, that will finally be cleared up, and we will have that cleared up. I'm expecting that will happen. I also expect that McKinney Corp will be announced as Race Car Builder of the Year, and next year be on the stinking list, because apparently there was 12,000 votes put in, and I know my reel that I did for McKinney got like 32,000 views, so I'm hoping most of those votes were McKinney Corp wrote in National Dragster.
Got to plug the sponsors, right?
That's all I got to say.
Nah, it's a definite shame that McKinney Corp wasn't on the list. Obviously, Chad Green driving a Nitro Funny Car won the last race of the season out in Pomona. So I mean, they do everything all McKinney final, like you said. So definitely that was a travesty to not have McKinney Corp on the list. But just going back to announcements, and I don't know if I can say this, on the show, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Apparently, Camry Caruso has a big announcement coming up soon, and should be announcing, I think, sometime next week. May announce it on this show, but or either at PRI. So I believe Camry Caruso has some big news coming up. And then in the comments, Drag Racing Mayhem said Brian said on the NHRA Insider podcast that TSR, Tony Stewart Racing Nitro, has a big press conference set for next week. So there should be some big news coming. We'll have to wait and see.
Oh, yeah. Always big news. Looking forward to what will be dropped. PRI is a good time. You see everybody there. It is the place where everybody shows up, and it's a good time. And I enjoy Indianapolis, too. It's a good city to have it in, and I think because of that, to some degree, it definitely has the feel that it's a drag racing show above all the other motorsports that are there, because there are other motorsports there. IndyCar is there. You've got dirt track racing as well represented. There's some stock car racing, but you certainly have NHRA drag racing well represented. There's always someone on stage, and Brian and Tony and others are continually interviewing throughout the day. I know the live stream will be going once again. Warren Evans, he'll be streaming that for NHRA for everyone to see on the YouTube channel and beyond. So if you're not able to be at PRI, you can be at PRI at least watching the NHRA live stream. And this show will go live. Between the Slicks will be live from there. A lot of content just right in here going to be coming from PRI.
No, and I hope we get some big news. Obviously, this is the silly season. We want to see some shakeup within the nitro classes and the pro stock classes. Hopefully, we do get some big time news. But like I said, for me in general, from my own personal standpoint, my first PRI I've never been before, so really just going to try to take it all in, get the experience in, and the networking, the chatting with people, and the connections and stuff like that. So should be a lot of fun. And Don, I look forward to meeting you out there too. It should be fun.
We're going to put you to work, Darren.
I'm all ready for it. I'm all ready for it.
They let media in at like 7 a.m., like 3 hours before anybody else. So
let's do it.
Come on. Bring your working shoes, man.
Well, geez, now I got to get a pass and come down there.
Yeah, man, it is worth it. It is worth it for sure to experience it. It is a good time in a good place, I think, to have it. Well, look, in a couple of minutes, we're going to bring on Chad Green and chat with him. So, you all, what'd you think of that final for Fuel Funny Car there in Pomona? Dave?
I thought it was a great way to end the season. And we always talked about Chad was going to be the next one that was a win, looking for a place to happen. Well, he found it at In-N-Out Burger Drag Strip at Pomona.
Yeah, and it was a great final round, side by side to the finish line, sunsetting header flames all the way down to the finish line. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better final. And obviously, we don't know what happened with Tim during before the run. Obviously, it seemed like it died, but came back to life. But Chad Green got him on a whole shot. So it was a great drag race and great way to end out Nitro Funny Car and a great setup to the run after that in Top Fuel Eliminator. Great way to end the season in Nitro Funny Car.
We're not talking about Top Fuel right now. Okay?
It's just a nice setup, though. Nice setup.
We're talking about Funny Car.
Just like 2006. John Force and Jack Beckman, 466 to 469.
This is 2023. 2023.
Hear me out though.
Chad was somewhere out in a field in Odessa drilling something. Come on, man.
Everybody talks about the run, and it was an amazing run. But when John Force beat Beckman with that 469 to a 466, that was amazing. That was a great setup to the run. When Alan Johnson saw that 466 come on the board, he was like, "Oh, yeah, we got this. But no, going back to Chad Green, obviously, what an amazing season for Chad Green. Started off the year hot, was hot all the way through, went to a couple finals, but finally broke through at the final race of the season. It was only right? It would kind of been a disappointment if he hadn't won this season with how much of a great season he had. So Great to see Chad in the winner's circle and great to double up with his kid, too. That was pretty awesome to see.
It was. Hey, why don't you give me a great setup plugging Weldon Pumps before we bring on Chad Green?
Weldon Pumps, a sponsor here on the Competition Plus Power Hour. Chad Green, ladies and gentlemen, is next.
And live, it is Mr. Green, the man that won his first ever NHRA National Event and Fuel Funny Car at the NHRA Finals. Congratulations, man.
Oh, thank you so much. Can y'all guys hear me okay?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Perfect. No, thank you so much. And hey, what a great intro to introduce me before the segment here. It was just a storybook ending on our season, as you said, and there couldn't have been a better way to finish. And I've had a couple weeks now to reflect upon it and to really think about it, and it's really had a chance to set in a little bit more, how the day unfolded. And we had been close a few times in the season, and we've been working so hard to get a win in the season. And let me tell you, this Nitro Funny Car class is so competitive these days. I mean, it's just, I sometimes think, man, I don't know if I'll ever be able to get a win, because it's just that tough. I mean, you can make it to the semifinals and then make it to the finals, but be able to go 4 rounds against these guys and get a win is just, an incredible thing for us. And to end the season like that and to, go through, my main goal coming in to that race was to, try and get us back in the top 5 in points. we'd been in the top 5 most of the season and ended up, slipping back during the countdown. And so we was really focused on that. I was really focused on J.R. Todd and John Force. They were in front of me. And, we ended up having J.R. Todd first round, which was, the perfect setup for us. And we kind of got lucky that round, I feel like. But, to go through him and then to go through Robert Height, which are the 2 guys that beat me in the, previous 2 finals I was in this year, to go through them. And then, to see the day unfold, see my boy win in, alcohol dragster, and knowing that, is going to come down to me and Tim, and actually me and Tim battling out for the 5th spot as well. It came down to the end, and to get to go against Tim in that situation, my partner, and, Daniel, my crew chief's dad, it was just awesome. And, to get my first win in that situation going against Tim, it's just, I couldn't think of anyone else I'd rather race against to get my first win.
Chad, we got to know, though, because it was mentioned that with you and your boy, Hunter Green, winning, that there was going to be double the partying. Was that the case? Was the partying double as well? I got to know.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we for sure had lots of partying going on for actually 2 days, because, it couldn't have been better with the NHRA award ceremony being the next day on Monday. So we got to party on Sunday, then, carried on over to the awards ceremony. So that was awesome, really cool. And, the fact that, now when the last race like that, we get to be winners now for 2 or 3 months. So that's pretty cool.
Well, Chad, man, congratulations on the win. Great to see from where you started to where you are now. And like you mentioned, the 2 guys who denied you in finals previously in Seattle and, Sonoma and Reading, J.R. Todd and Robert Height, you beat them in first round and second round to get your first win. And I know this is a family show. But Matt Hagan did mention with you helping him win the championship, he was going to give you a big fat kiss. Did you have to run from him that night, or what happened? What happened with that?
No, for sure I didn't run from him, and for sure he gave me a kiss. But no, that was just that. That just really puts icing on the cake. That whole situation with Hagan. Certainly I have nothing to do with him winning the championship. Those guys, they earned that all season long. But to be a part of it, to know that somehow I was a part in the final decision there at the end, our racing and winning like that is kind of a cool moment for us. And I couldn't be more happier for Hagan and that group. They're just, he's just always been a first class guy with me. And so he's always welcomed me, and they're just a first class crew. And I was happy to see them win. And then to be able to come out for us getting a win on top of it just could have been better.
Well, and you also share with Matt the same statistic that you both came from Pro Mod to Nitro Funny Car and ended up winners. So perhaps championship in your future too. And all of that storybook stuff, everything that built up to that final is all well and good. But at the end of the day, does it feel a little bit more special that you were the one that won it? You won it on a hole shot, 0.33 on the tree, best reaction time in the whole class all day long when you needed it the most. And you got the job done. So at the end of the day, that was all driver right there.
Yeah, that makes it really extra cool to know that when I won the race at the moment, I didn't even know I won it on the whole shot. I didn't even know what we ran. So when I found that out, and then to win the race like that, the last race of the season, and on top of that, to have one of my best reaction times of the season, how else would you want to do it? That's pretty epic.
Do you put more pressure on yourself knowing, hey, my son just won in front of me, and I kind of want to back that up so we could both be in a winner's circle? Does that add? Do you put a little more extra pressure on yourself with that?
I definitely think there had to been some extra pressure on me. That was on my mind, but also I know it's kind of a weird feeling that day when once I got past Robert Height, and all the top 3 guys went out the second round. I'm looking at this thing thinking, man, we really got a good shot today to do this. And I'd had a good feeling all week. And when I saw the day unfolding, by the time I got to the final round, going against him, I was just really calm. I felt really calm, and I think that had a lot to do with, me being able to cut a good light up there on the tree and all that. I felt really calm about the whole situation. So I don't know. I'm sure it did.
Chad, you have got as a tuner in Daniel Wilkerson a growing star in NHRA drag racing. Now, oftentimes you are in the car, shoots out, it's coming through the shutdown area, and he's on the mic saying something that we have all been waiting for him to say, whatever is coming out of his mouth. But I have interacted with Daniel just a few times in the pits, and simple questions like, hey, Daniel, is this all McKinney stuff? He's like, yes, sir, it is. And he's very polite and professional and kind of even low key. Take us into the modus opti of Daniel Wilkerson and what's it like interacting with him? Because we see him on the chip, and then also in the pits, he's like, yeah, yes, sir. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I tell you, what the people see, on the starting line in his interviews, is really a totally different person than he is, 99% of the time. But Daniel, one thing I've learned about Daniel, he's and something I love about him so much is he's such an ultra competitor. He wants to win so much. And, but really, back at the pits and going through our routine, Daniel's really calm, collective guy, very bright young guy. And I couldn't be more happy for him. Let me tell you, Tim's helped us along the way, but Daniel deserves all the credit. I mean, Daniel's making the calls on that car race to race, and he's just done it, as everyone has seen, such a fantastic job and deserves all the credit he's getting.
Keep on turning on more win lights. We want Daniel to keep talking, so keep doing it, man, okay?
Yes, I know everybody loves to hear him, and I actually love to hear him too.
That line after first round when you guys beat J.R. Todd, he said something like, referring to his DHL sponsorship, shipping that car back to Ypsilanti. I thought that was amazing. And so, that was a great line. But just, kind of like a full circle moment, talking about Pomona, you winning the World Finals. A few months earlier, 6 months earlier at the Winter Nationals, you guys had a hot start, and then first round of Pomona, Daniel forgets to take the throttle stop off, and you guys have your first round loss of the year. And I know you're kind of disappointed in that, but then to come back and win that race of the World Finals, kind of a cool full circle moment, I would say.
It is a very cool full circle moment, and I have to say, Pomona, the in and out drag strip there, it's rapidly becoming one of my favorite tracks to race at, that's for sure. Because before that throttle stop came off in the first race, the day before, we won the Mission Too Fast Too Tasty challenge, so we really had good momentum. I felt we had a good car that day. I think we would have done really good had that not have happened. So to be able to come back, and especially, we started out the countdown, and we went to the finals first race. And, we so pumped up about it. And then we go into the next 4 races of the countdown, and our car is actually running the best it's run all season. But the next, races 2 through 5, we went out the first round, just one thing or another happened, just things didn't go our way. And we was really, the biggest pressure for me when we went into Pomona is just to win first round. I did not want to go out first round again, another 5 races in a row in the season like that. And it was a really tough round going up against J.R. Todd. I knew that was going to be tough. And once I got past that first round, all the pressure went off, and we're just off to the races at that point.
Well, you as a driver, Daniel as a crew chief, the team in general, definitely a stock on the rise in NHRA funny car drag racing. You've reset your career best, as you mentioned, multiple times over the last few races of the year. You've got a Mission Foods Challenge win. You've now got a national event win. You've got a top 5 in points. What does that do going into 2024? Where do you set your goals now? What is the next carrot out there that you guys are chasing?
Well, definitely. We're going to definitely go into the next season with high expectations. We already, coming into this season, we had high expectations, but, I'm not going to lie. It was a dream season for us to have a season like we put together and the way it evolved, and then, you know, to culminate like that at the end with the win. It's done so much for our team. You know, I put this team together, you know, 3 or 4 years ago, and I've had the same core guys with me that time. And I've actually got some pretty veteran guys on my team. I've got, you know, 2 or 3 guys that used to be some of Tim's best guys, and you know, got married, had babies, left for a few years, and kind of was burnt out. And then, you know, they were racing with Tim back when I was driving Tim's car, get my license and stuff like that. And when I put this together, I got the opportunity to get, you know, some of those guys back, and you know, bring Dean and Chaz, my guy from my pro mod, over with me, which are awesome guys, and then to add Daniel in with it. And then, you know, basically we had a pretty core group of some badass dudes right there. And we threw a couple of young guys in the mix, new guys to start all off. And those guys, I just can't say enough about them, how they've evolved. And we just, to see the whole team evolve, it's just been a really cool and awesome process to watch. And what happened with us this year, and, you know, we started out the year and first 2 races going to the semis. And I mean, I could see the confidence of my team start to grow. And, you know, success breeds success. Is kind of like a little bit like a snowball effect throughout the year. And it's just really cool now to witness my team and watch them, you know, when we're out there in the stage lanes on the starting line, and to see how professional, how confident, and just how capable they really have become.
Well, the foreseeable future for you in Nitro Funny Car certainly is bright, but Nitro Funny Cars aren't running at the moment, but we still do have a lot of door cars running. What about you in the Pro Mod ranks? I know you at least got 2 still. Might even have another one mothballed for all I know. When are you going to be back behind the wheel in between the doors?
So, yeah, that's a good question. We've been, you know, it is kind of that time of year, and I'll just say you will see the Pro Mod out sometime this year before NHRA gets cranked back up again.
Oh,
Okay.
Still nitrous?
Still nitrous. Oh, yeah. Still nitrous.
Okay. I like it.
And Chad, obviously, you know, high expectations going into 2024. And one thing that I love is, you know, not only do you know, have the, you know, your main sponsor Bond Code, but you also still carry the LRS colors from time to time throughout this past season. Can we still see the LRS colors next year going into 2024?
We're not really sure yet if Mr. Levi's going to be back in it all next year. That's kind of still in the works and in discussions. But we've got a lot of good things happening with the car and with some partners. So we expect to see some, you know, different partners on the car in 2024. We expect to bring BP back, you know, to Brainerd again, like they've been on our car the last couple of years. So yeah, I think we've got some good things in the works. So we'll see what happens.
You know, with marketing being mentioned, obviously Bond Code is your company, and feel free in answering this question to take the time to explain what Bond Code is, what you do, and how vital it is to the oil and gas industry, especially out there in West Texas. But did winning a NHRA national event help out in marketing? Did anybody pick up the phone, or was it easier to have some conversations or to seal some deals going into 2024?
Well, I definitely, you know, it's still early on after the win, but I definitely do think that that's going to help play a factor in all of that. And as far as Bonco goes back here, I mean, yeah, I mean, to finish the season like that and win, I mean, this isn't where I live is in a really huge area, you know, about 300,000 people. So word gets around here pretty good, and that all helps with business. I mean, people like to be involved with businesses, with people who do cool things and are winners and all that cool stuff. So yeah, all that definitely plays a part. And you know, as far as Bond Code here, I definitely don't want to bore people because it's not an exciting business. But what we do is we put a specialty coating on the exterior of pipe that goes downhole in the oil wells, and it's to prevent against corrosion. So luckily, we've got some very corrosive grounds around here, so we're staying pretty busy, and that's very fortunate, for us, because that's what allows me to get out and race and do the things I love to do.
Yeah, and I mean, that's basically what makes the world go round, is the money. So hopefully the oil industry continues on that way, and you can keep on keeping on. And with that being the case, perhaps Boncoat might expand to another car, and maybe Hunter stepping up, or is he going to be in the top alcohol ranks for another year? What is his plans going forward? And would you maybe have a father and son funny car team?
Well, we would definitely like to have a father and son nitro teams. Hunter definitely has aspirations to drive Top Fuel, and that's the direction we're going. And for him right now, the plans for next season, he's going to run some more races in alcohol dragster with Randy Meyer. We're still trying to work out the details on exactly which races and how many he's going to do. But it's probably going to be something similar to like this year. I think he ran 10 races this year, so he'll be something like that. We're finalizing all that right now. But as far as him stepping up, I mean, it's tough enough to fund one Top Fuel program out here fully like we're doing, and we're trying to do it at a competitive level, which is very difficult because you got these teams out here that's been out here doing it for years, with lots of backing behind them, and we're trying to keep up with those people. So, as we see more partnerships come on board for, my team, that definitely would free up, some opportunity for Hunter, or if he can, bring on some himself. So that's what we're working on right now, and that's what our goals are for the future. But in the meantime, the alcohol dragster class has just been really awesome. And I mean, I don't think there's a better class out there for these young drivers to hone their skills in right now. And you see so many young, great competitive drivers. I mean, to go out there, you have 24 cars in the field, and practically any one of them can win the race. So it's really been a good experience for him to hone his skills. So I'm excited for him. I was excited that he's able to get 2 wins this year, and we'll see what next year brings.
What did you think about his driving job in round 2 at Saturday night at Pomona, on and off the throttle 3-4 times? That was pretty cool to see.
That was pretty cool to see. I mean, that was kind of his first experience of being in a situation like that and having to do something like that. And he got the win light, so it's all good.
Yeah, he definitely had a growing year. 2 national events, had some moments. If you look back, even in my coverage, like at the regional, the Lone Star Nationals there at Texas, he's like, yeah, I made a mistake. He still got the round win, but he's like, I just flat out made a mistake. And so good maturing year in a race car for Hunter. Now, Hunter doesn't just drive the race car. He is rather involved at home with the home business and also your race team. How integral is your son in the racing program for you, Chad?
He's actually very integral. I mean, Hunter does a lot of stuff behind the scenes. I mean, he's here. He helping me out at Boncoat. He works for Boncoat full time. And then, he pretty much runs my social media, which, he's done an outstanding job at that. He helps manage the team, travel, all the travel plans, all that sort of stuff. So there's so much Hunter's doing behind the scenes. And, to see him to get out there and get a chance to race like that, it's just really cool, because people really don't understand how much he works and does behind the scenes.
So, Chad, just a little fun question right here before we let you go. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Joe Costello said on the starting line at Pomona that Little Tay was hanging out with you guys out at Pomona for the World Finals. How was that? And how'd that come together?
Yeah, Little Tay was there. That was actually pretty cool. I mean, how it came together is through just a mutual friend of ours that's been out and been to the drag races before, another social media guy, and he's involved with Little Tay now. That's kind of how it all came about. But that's that's the cool thing about this sport is, we could get people like that out, people like that's never been to a drag race before. And let me tell you, Little Tay left an NHRA drag race Chad Green fan. So it was a really cool experience to get to experience that with, with a total different generation from me and coming from a total different culture. And that's what the sport needs, is more people like that coming out and supporting us.
That certainly was a cool deal. Love seeing anyone come along to NHRA drag racing and experiencing it, especially for the first time. We always say this sport cannot just be watched on TV. It has to be experienced to really understand it. Well, Chad, we're going to be letting you go here soon. Very quickly, though, your PRI, how is it shaping up for you? I know I talked to your son. I've got you scheduled to come by the McKinney booth on Thursday. You might not have even known that till now, but you are, and looking forward to having you there. But what else is going to be transpiring for Chad Green and Chad Green Motorsports?
Well, I don't know. Hopefully a lot of exciting stuff is going to be going on there. Let me tell you, I'm really looking forward to the PRI this year. I mean, every year I go to the PRI, it seems to get better. And it's going to be extra special this year because, coming off the win in Pomona, I mean, we're going to go to the PRI and we're still going to be celebrating that and still going to be talking about it. And it's going to be really awesome. Can't wait to see you there.
It is going to be a good time. I know, hey, if this man gets a table at the after hours party, I know which table I'm going to hang out at. It's going to be a good time. So
we'll definitely see you there.
All right. Chad, man, look, good to have you on the show. Always good to talk to you, and enjoy the rest of your time today out there in West Texas. Thank you, man.
Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate having me and glad to be back anytime. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chad.
Chad, man, he's a cool character out there in NHRA Funny Car for sure. I like the dynamic. Like, Chad is just like almost kind of mellow when he's on camera. He tells you like it is, but it's mellow. And then Daniel is this on the chip dude, and you get this like top end interview that's mellow, but you get this starting line interview that's like up here. I like the dynamic. It's good.
Oh, for sure. And just another added extra name to the Nitro Funny Car class. Obviously, Robert Height and Ron Capps have cemented themselves as legends in the class. And, you have other guys like, Ron Capps, Matt Hagan, Robert Height, like I just said. But to have a new name winning like Chad Green, I think that just helps the class overall. Really cool to see his success here in 2023. It
certainly does. And Chad and Daniel worked it out this year where they were always in the discussion. I don't think there was a race that we went to for NHRA drag racing at the national event level this year that Chad Green, except maybe the Gator Nationals, because it was early. It was the first one. But beyond that is like, watch out for Chad Green. Watch out for Daniel Wilkerson. They are due. And they showcase that all year long, and they, serve notice at the end of the year in that win that they are for real.
And just kind of
we kind of referred to them throughout the year as the best of the rest because they were right up there, right behind the big three and the big four, like we had always mentioned, Capps, Hagan, Height, and then Tasca up there at the top. And it's certainly not a knock on that team at all to be in that particular category and competing against and still beating all of the other teams, some of which are perhaps much better off financially and better funded. As Chad had mentioned in his interview, he's like, we're not, the top tier out there. We don't have the experience. We don't have the backing that some of these guys do, but they sure are doing the best with what they have at their abilities and getting down the track and getting around wins. And next year, I really look forward to them stepping up. And I think they're going to be a player. I think they're going to be somebody that's going to be a top 3 or 4 car as we go forward.
I agree with you because, and Chad has showcased too, he has that driving ability in a Nitro Funny Car, just like he did in a Pro Mod. You mentioned best reaction time of the day in eliminations there at In-N-Out Burger Pomona Drag Strip for the In-N-Out Burger NHRA Finals. Can we get to 2024, please? I don't have to say that all the time. But he's certainly shown that he is certainly a capable driver. Daniel knows how to tune that thing up. What a report I think we got here live that, hey, give all the credit to Daniel. Like I think there has been some of that, like he's in the shadow of Tim. And I think you have Chad saying something like that, and it helps us put him in the light that much more for Daniel that, hey, he's getting this done. I mean, certainly there's help from Dad, but he is getting it done. He's getting it on his own, and it might not be as many notes from the other Wilkerson car than we previously thought.
And I like well, first off, I love to see the progression. Like you mentioned, semifinals to start the year, wins the Mission Foods Too Fast, Too Tasty Challenge. That was his first trophy in Nitro.
Chimichanga Challenge. I want to throw that out. Chimichanga Challenge.
The Chimichanga Challenge. Wins the Mission Foods Too Fast, Too Tasty Challenge. It just got better and better as the year went on. You know, like Dave mentioned, you know, bested his career best multiple times that season. Now he's consistently in the good conditions. He's consistently running in the mid to low 380s now. I mean, he could run with the big boys now. So just great to see that progression. Great to see him get that first win. And just for the people who like stats, Chad Green first win at the World Finals. The last funny car driver to do that, Mike Neff, 2009.
In a Ford.
Yes. Beat Ashley Forrest Hood in the final.
Interesting.
All Ford
Dave's got us. Dave has thrown out many times, but that was the first all Ford final since John and Courtney 2014.
Sonoma 2014. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Which even in California itself, is it not weird how things like that line up sometimes? That's so so strange. So strange. But again, congratulations to Chad Green. The next guest that we have on the Competition Plus Power Hour tonight. Let me see, which way do I got to go? Oh, this way. So this group this group, Southeast Gassers Association, the founder, but now not owner, Quian Stott. We're going to have him on, and I'm looking forward to this conversation of inception through to this moment and why now. Southeast Gassers Association drag racing, I've seen it in person. It is the best nostalgia drag racing that is out there, I think, period. And it's period correct, period. And that is something that Quian Stott founded, formulated, and continued all the way up to this point. Dave, your thoughts on Southeast Gassers Association drag racing?
I think that it is, like you mentioned, period correct, era correct, a throwback to the good old days. And I love that it is a stick shift class. I love that they're kicking the clutch. I love that they're putting on the high-flying wheel stands. They're screaming those motors to the brink, those high-winding small blocks. And Quian, you know, I talked to him a while ago, probably about 5-6 years ago by now, as I was posting some of his old IHRA Pro Mod wins on YouTube. He reached out to me. He's like, hey, can I get a copy of that? Hey, can I get a copy of that? I don't have that. I said, sure. And then we kind of struck up a conversation. And obviously I was running Nostalgia Superstock at the time. And mine was not a clutch-assisted stick shift car. So I didn't really fit the SEGA rules to go in there and run with them. I said, well, you're coming to Indiana. I wish the car fit the rules. I'd love to run. And he said, the man's response, just met him. He goes, well, hell, I wish you to come. I still had my car to let you drive it. And I'm like, well, thank you. I wish that would be the case too. But it was, at that point, it was still growing so big that he couldn't even compete and field his own car anymore. And the progression of the series, I kind of, with the way that the participation is, the way that the drivers are treated, the way that the organization is run, I know that we really talk, well, on this particular show and other shows that Lee's have done about the Funny Car Chaos. This is kind of like the door car version of Funny Car Chaos. Maybe not so much on the period correct aspect of it, but on the way that it is ran, the way that the drivers are treated, the camaraderie amongst everybody, and the show that they put on. It's grassroots racing, but it's a family. And the family is ever expanding and always welcoming. And they put on a great show. And I'm glad to see it continue on. Hopefully it continues on in the same tradition that it was started with.
Darren, I mean, you haven't been to one, and you don't even come to the Southeast. You barely get out of Southern California. The Southeast Gassers Association drag racing, your thoughts, man?
I haven't been to a race, but when I first started my channel, reason why I got so interested in it was because of your coverage, and I became a fan of it, as time went. And I got to interview some of their drivers, like Gabriel Burrow and Agas, because of your show, allowing me to interview him. So met some of the drivers. I've briefly chatted with Leslie Horn, and obviously the new owner of Southeast Gassers Association, and just an amazing series from what I've seen online. And definitely have to get out to a race sometime. But I've said this plenty of times, just everything they do, like you said, period correct. And just with me living on the West Coast here in Southern California, I feel like that series would do so good out here with our West Coast, old school car culture. I think it would just fit in perfectly. So, it's a great series. I got to get out to one, and really interested. Looking forward to talking to Quian Stott. Never talked to him before. I know he's a legend, a badass pro mod racer. So, looking forward to this conversation right here.
And he is next after this word concerning Holly Retro Bright, and that certainly fits rolling into talking about SEGA, which is bright in retro things.
Classic car owners, make your headlights over twice as bright with Holley Retro Bright LED headlights. A plug-in replacement for those dim halogen seal beams, Retro Bright maintains that classic look and lasts 6 times longer. Stay safe and click the link below to learn more.
Quian Stott. Sir, welcome again to the show, and you have gone up and did it.
Well, always a pleasure, guys, to be on the show. Usually it's under very different circumstances, but I think it's still going to be a good show, and I'm nervous about some of the questions y'all may ask. I'm not sure I can answer them all.
Well, Quian, look, obviously you're on the show. We're going to talk about the why of now, but I think we've got to ask, even though it's been asked so many times on so many different shows and so many other platforms, whether articles or static videos, why the Southeast Gassers when it was put together and put out there.
Ask me that again, Lee. I didn't understand the question.
Why SEGA?
Why the name, or why did we do what
the
we
racing?
did?
The racing. Why?
The reason I started it, if that's your question, is I ran Pro Mod for 19 years. I never missed a national event. And I've always had a fascination for the old gassers. Actually, I love the 70 funny cars. But to start an organization like that would just be too expensive for anybody. You wouldn't get that many cars because if I started it, I would want the cars to be correct to the 70 era. So the gassers was a love of mine, so I started it. But the reason I started it, and this may step on a lot of toes, is my Pro Mod car became a car that drove itself. All the driver aids, and I'm an old school racer. The last pass I made in my Pro Mod car was a 362, I think it was, somewhere around there in the 8th mile. And I could have took any kid out of the bleachers and give me 20 passes, and I'd have had him running 362 in the 8th mile, which meant my 40 years experience was worth nothing. But I could put him in this Anglia that I race now, and it may take him 40 years to ever get a decent pass out of it. So the reason I started it was I wanted to put the driver back in the game. I wanted to try to preserve history, because history was being destroyed by, I have to be careful how I say this, there was nobody doing a nostalgia race that preserved history. I'll put it that way. We have 22 pages of rules, and if you look at the rules in any other nostalgia racing, there'll be about 3 paragraphs maybe, or 3 sentences, and it probably says something to the effect of must look like a gasser. So that's anybody's opinion. So we had 22 pages of rules, and I was telling somebody today, our rules are tough to enforce because we have 2 rule books. We have an error correct rule book, and we have a performance rule book. Where in NHRA or some of those, they only have a performance rule book. So we actually have to have 2 rule books. That's why it's so tough to keep the tech department and to keep the racers in line.
And I definitely know where you were going with that, Coin, putting the driver back in the car. And I know Mike Dunn, when he took over the IHRA, that was a point of emphasis he really wanted to make, was putting the driver back in the car and everything like that. And before we get into the why of the sale, before we get into all that, you know, so much success you've had with this series over the last 12 years. Did you think when you first started, did you think it would get this big, from the sellout crowds to the car counts, just all the success it's had, the promotion, everything? Did you think it would get this big? It's pretty
No,
amazing.
absolutely not. I would have never dreamed. But like I said, I started it just to help preserve history, and I figured that nobody would be interested in doing it but just a few people. And what really blew my mind was the young people that's involved. You know, we've got racers that started. Colby Welch won our championship year before last at 17 years old, I think it was, in B gas. And so what blew my mind more than anything was the young people that's got involved with it. I figured it would be a bunch of old cooters like me, you know, that was just trying to feel young again. But it's amazing how the young people has got involved, and that is why I think it's going to live on forever, because of young people. We have to have the young people to make it go, because we ain't going to be around much longer.
Well, and the nice part is, like you say, the rules, they may be strict, but there are so many classes today, or I think people just in general, when they build cars, they just build cars and then they kind of see where they fall in, you know, or they want to change to accept them.
Yeah.
You were like, you know what, this is what it's going to be. And, you know, even if there's 15 or 20 of us that come and do it, that's all it's going to be, but it is going to be correct. And instead of that being the case anymore, the train of thought going, well, I'll just see where I fall in which falls in most nostalgia categories, just because they want to boost their car count. They're all about car count. We need cars out here. So we'll let that go. We'll let that go. Come on and run. It looks nostalgic. Come on and do it. You stuck to your guns, and you got people that actually started building cars to the rule book again. They would get, just like NHRA way back in the day, can't wait till the new rule book comes out, because I want to see how I got to build my car so I can enter this, see what the weight breaks are, see what category I end up, you know, what classification I end up in. And that's really caused it to flourish. And I really think that it may not be everybody's cup of tea, but the fact that you were as strict and steadfast throughout this entire time and didn't let the rules kind of slip away as some of the other areas have been, is really what has contributed to the success that it's had and the continued growth. And for that, I thank you and I appreciate it for sure.
Well, we did. It was kind of funny when we first started it. Our slogan was quality, not quantity, because just like you said, so many racing organizations get into car count because they charge a big entry fee. Well, we didn't do that. 12 years in this deal, I never charged an entry fee. And because we didn't want to make the money off the racers, we said if we put on a good enough show, we'll make the money off the spectators. We never paid a lot of money to win, because we thought that would keep the money from dominating, which didn't help. I mean, it probably helped some, but we wanted to keep it for the little guy. And believe it or not, is contrary to popular belief, we had Tim Hall's won 2 back-to-back championships. Tim Hall does not have a big budget. Ted McKee won B-Gas. Ted does not have a big budget. You know, it's so we got so many racers out there. Josh Pruitt, I think, set the C-Gas record at our last race. He has a very small budget. So there's so many people that got involved in this, and we've kept it small. But it was funny when I first wrote the rule book, people would laugh and say, there ain't no way you get people to build cars wrong on purpose. Because we all know, you know, I built pro mod cars for a living. So I know how to build a whole lot better race car. But that's not the mission here. The mission is to try to preserve the history. And therefore, building the cars this way ended up causing the cars to be a lot more fun to watch. I didn't have that in the plan. It just worked out. But now we have people building cars. You wouldn't believe the phone calls I get from California. Of course, y'all probably know we got cars from Sweden. We had a car from Vancouver, British Columbia. Well, it was British Columbia. It wasn't Vancouver. I forget the name of the town he was from. It was up in that area. drove 2,900 miles one way to race with us. And he said, I drove right by a lot of nostalgia races to get here. And Greg Stills from Wisconsin, he drives right by nostalgia races, drives, I think one of the races was 1,400 miles for him, because he said he wants to race in a real drag race. And but it really feels good to me. But now we have people building cars from all over the country, and I get phone calls and they'll say, I say, are you going to plan to race with us? They said, no, we're not. We'd probably never be able to afford to make the trip. But we build a car to Southeast Gasser rules because the resale value is so much better. And you have the strictest rule book in the world. So we know if we build Southeast Gasser rules, we can race it anywhere. It'll be legal to race anywhere.
Quian, SEGA has grown to mega proportions in the area of drag racing that it is in, and has certainly made a great impact in drag racing well beyond Southeast and just even the United States of America, as you mentioned.
Yeah, we named it wrong.
Right.
We named it wrong. We had no idea it was going to grow the point it did, so we definitely named it wrong.
Quian, with growth, there are growing pains, though. How challenging was it for you personally with everything in your life? Because you have a race shop, fab shop, and you're doing more than SEGA. How challenging was it to manage, grow, promote, run races, everything that it took for you personally to get it to this point?
I have no idea how to ever explain what a promoter goes through. Mike Baker, NHRA tech guy for my whole pro mod career. About the third year into this, I called Mike and I said, Mike, I got to call you. I got to apologize. He said, why? I said, for all the hell I put you through. Because I had no idea. Some of the things that promoters do look to the general public like you're just being a greedy person, or it looks like you're being just, and it's not that. It has to be that way. It's a business. When I first started this thing, I'll never forget the first race. It lost $400. I had 7 cars. It cost me $400. I said, that's a lot of fun. It was worth that. In 2018, Cynthia and I figured up I was $250,000 in the hole. I had took $250,000 from my retirement to keep this thing going. And that was in 2018. And we finally turned it around and started getting it. But it's just, nobody can imagine the overhead. And that's not counting the money I lost in my shop by having to deal with Southeast Gassers, because it grew to the point till it's more than an 8-hour-a-day job, and it was more than a 7-day-a-week job. And but my pay was the pats on the back I got and the people thanking me for saving the history and all that. And so that's kind of how I justified it. I could tell stories from now on, but I still get this numerous emails, phone calls, and people just saying thank you so much for doing this. And that's what made it so hard for me to sell it.
And obviously, I can see you're kind of getting emotional right now. And, can you just, for people who hadn't, read the articles or seen your Facebook posts, just what was the main reason for the sale, and how long has it been in your head of actually wanting to sell? How long has this been in the works for you?
I started looking at selling it about 2 years ago, and I really don't want to get into all the reasons, because I don't want to be negative, but we've been 12 years, and I talked a lot about the appreciation I got, but it started to get to the point, and in any business, the boss man becomes a hated person by the employees. They love him to death, and then as time goes on, try to make this sound as nice as I can. But I can remember about back 214, 215, I had this one guy that was racing with us, and he got to the point to where he was going around in the pits talking about what a greedy person I was, because in 215, I didn't pay anything to win. We didn't even give a trophy away. And this guy was talking about, oh, Quian's lining his pockets. He's making all this money, and he's really treating the racers bad. He's not paying nothing to win. We're the show. And, but you know, that was just one guy. And keep in mind, I'm not saying, you know, because there was so many people that was praising me for what I did. You know, my mama used to always say, let the good outweigh the bad. Well, the last 2 years, it's like these little groups were forming. And they say, hey, Quian's doing this, Quian's doing that, you know. And so those little groups would get together and become big groups. And, you know, all this was coming back to me through the grapevine. So somebody asked me, said, how long are you going to do this? I said, I'm going to do it as long as people appreciate it. My racers appreciate it. That was the main thing. Now, keep in mind, this is only a very, very small percentage of people. You know, 80% of them was still, you know, enjoying it, loving what I did, and understood the challenge it was. So that got me started about 2 years ago thinking, you know what? I've run my course. I cannot take it to the next level. I need to find somebody to replace me, and they'll be the hero. I'll give you an example. In 1970, Larry Carrier started IHRA, and he was a hero because he, at the time, you know, NHRA was the big guy, and everybody's like, oh, this man's going to start something for the little guy. And Larry Carrier did a great job. He started IHRA, and he was a hero, just like I was when I started Southeast Gassers. Well, I can't remember the exact date, but I'm going to say somewhere around 1978 or so. Larry had started going through the same fate I had. It's like, oh, he's just lining his pockets. He's making all this money. So he's seen that coming, I'm sure, and he sold it to Billy Meyer. Well, Billy Meyer was a hero. Everybody's like, oh, man, Billy's the greatest thing ever was. He's coming here. He didn't really change a whole lot. He didn't change anything. But he was a hero because he replaced this guy. And then it wasn't but a couple of years, everybody's saying, boy, I wish we had Larry. But the same people now that was talking about Larry being the bad guy was saying, boy, I wish we had Larry back. So it's more of it's not a hatred thing. But when I seen that start happening, and I look back at what I've seen a lot of times, you know, business will change CEOs sometimes just because they need a new face. And so I felt like I needed a new face, or I felt like Southeast Gassers needed a new face. And also another reason is I'm getting older, you know, and I want to start trying to enjoy life a little bit more. And this thing was consuming me. I mean, I was like, I had no time to do nothing. Even if I did go try to do something, my phone was ringing, and I was constantly trying to help people. And keep in mind, I wasn't just helping people with the rules. I was helping people with their chassis questions and what can I do? How strong? What tubing do I build my ladder bars out of? And I always volunteered that information for free. So I started looking for somebody to buy this thing to take it to the next level, because I knew I had ran my course and I couldn't do it because I didn't have the respect of all the racers anymore like I did when I started it. And I knew that the new guy did not need to change anything. He just needed to be a new guy. And so Leslie, we talked to a lot of people, and there was a lot of possibilities. But you got to remember, it had to be somebody that had enough money to pay me for it. They had to have operating capital after that, because let's just say Leslie comes in here, the first 4 races get rain. You know, you better have about $100,000 to pay all these bills because them races are going to lose big money. So it took somebody, and then it took somebody to have the ambition to run it, and it took somebody that had to have the desire, what's the word I'm looking for? Somebody that wanted to see it succeed. And Leslie had all those qualities, and that's why I chose him. to be the new owner.
Well, and just like any business transition, you always hope that the new owner kind of carries on the tradition of expansion the way that you did. And I'm sure that going forward, he's going to carry it to the next plateau, perhaps. But as sad as it is to see you change ownership the way that it is, because you've grown it from what you have, like you said, coming back to the first race with 7 cars showing up, to expanding from a gasser field to even adding a super stock category. Very successful at that one. Packed shows, good YouTube coverage. If you guys have never watched the Southeast Gassers on YouTube, check them out, because their events are on there. They are an excellent produced and entertaining show to give you an idea of what these guys put on. And we can only hope, like I say, maybe some other changes, hopefully not necessarily to the rules aspect, maybe the way that the show is run, or certain things here and there. But will you have any mixed feelings when it comes into this next season and they start running those first couple of races and you're not the one at the helm?
I think Leslie and I's had a lot of talks, and we have a serious contract with the racetracks too. It's not just the racers we're strict on. We have a real serious contract with the racers, with the tracks, and they assured me that all this stuff would be kept just exactly the way we had it, because how can you question it? There's no way you could ever question how great this thing has been. So a man would be a fool to come in and change anything. So Leslie has assured me that everything's going to stay just like it is. When we say take it to the next level, we just mean grow the spectator count. And we don't need more race cars. Most time we have too many, but we welcome everybody anyway. It's nice to have extra cars if one breaks or whatever, but we're not looking for more cars. We're just looking for quality, like we said earlier. And I just don't think Leslie he's got such a passion for this. That's the word I was looking for a while ago. He's got to have the passion for this. That was the other quality. And he does have it. And he's kept Randy Edmonds. Randy's the guy that ran it for me the last year. And Randy was my tech guy a couple of years before that. So Randy knows the in and outs. And I'm counting on Randy to carry this on. And I think he will. And, it's funny, back to the reason I sold it, how somebody can build something from the ground up like we did this, and build every step of it by hand, and then get it to the top like it is now. And now you got people that says, well, he don't need to be the one running it. So it's not the guy that built it, for some reason, don't always need to be the guy running it. It was kind of funny. And when Leslie and I talked about him buying it, he said, Quian, you'll always be the founder. And one of my racers, Tony Tagenhurst out of Ohio, he's a new racer this year, and I've grown to be really good friends with. He said something that really hit home to me the other day. He said, Quian, when they build a big skyscraper or something, they put the plaque on the foundation, not the roof. And that made me feel good. So, Quian Stott will always be the plaque on the foundation of the Southeast Gassers. No matter where it goes, if it becomes $1 billion company or if it folds up, it's going to always have my name on the foundation. So that's the reason. That's why I've kind of been able to do this without just losing my mind, because I really, it was my baby, and it's been hard to sell.
Well, Quian, thank you for the foresight that you had in the past, but even now for the future of something that has turned into such a great movement in drag racing as the Southeast Gassers Association. What will your involvement be like next year? Are you going to be participating in racing and put some focus on that possibly? Go win a championship and remind everybody, hey, you can still drive.
No, I'm going to race. Or I'm planning to. I don't know if I'll run all the races. I had somebody ask me, they said, will you race serious now? Because I haven't raced serious since I parked the Pro Mod. And I said, no, I raced 19 years never missed a national event in 19 years when I ran Pro Mod. And so I don't know that I've got the energy to race that hard. And I said, you got those two. You can race for fun or you can race to win. You cannot do both. You have to choose one or the other, because if you race to win, it will not be fun. If you race for fun, you will not win. Then that's just as plain as you can make it. So, but now my nephew's coming along, Briley Stott, and we're trying to get him a car put together, and we're probably going to push Briley to win. So I'll probably put more of my efforts into him winning, and I'll be out there, and if I'll take a win every now and then, but I'm not planning to go out there. And plus, I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure I can do it. These guys are a lot tougher than people realize. When you look at the numbers these cars are running with the restrictions they have, it's got a whole lot of people's attention. You got people like John Causey, One Way Technologies, Gene Fulton, Scott Duggins. You got these engine builders, these chassis builders. Alan Pittman's he's built one car, he's building another one. Alan Pittman builds Pro Mod cars. This is getting to be a serious deal. And that's why I think it's going to take somebody like Leslie that has the energy to carry it to the next level, because I just ran out of energy.
And we have the new owner of SEGA in the comments, Leslie Horn. He says, not a lot of change for SEGA in 2024, other than the new owner is much better looking. So a little funny comment right there.
Well, he named his car Chick Magnet, so I'll let y'all be the judge.
Yeah, there's definitely some interesting jawing in SEGA. What, your car got called like Kermit Mobile or something?
Oh,
or
Lord,
Green Doodlebug, or
that was Rob Walden and I. Rob's got a 409 and it's 33 Willis, the old W block or whatever they call that thing. So I started calling it a truck engine, and so he started calling my car Kermit because it's a little green car, and we've just had a blast out of that. We've had a fun time with it.
Well, you got to let Robbie know those used to be school bus engines back in the day. That's what they used to power all the school bus. Yeah, they were truck and school bus, high torque, 409 and 348s. That's what they made them for.
Yeah.
So you can get the old school bus out.
I am building a new car. We haven't really made any total announcements yet. I don't know that I can get it finished in the 3 months we have off or whatever. So I'll run something to start the year off. And because I'm going to support them, I don't want this thing to fail. I want to see it be a $1 billion company one of these days, or something huge. I want to see that. I should have said multi-million-dollar company. The $1 billion is a little stretching it, but I would like to see it be a multi-million-dollar organization one day, because remember what I said earlier, my name's on the foundation of it. So I'm going to do everything I can to support these guys, and hopefully they'll just keep it moving like it is. There don't need to be anything changing. The only thing that needed to change was the face of the guy that ran it, and we've changed that. So I think it'll be all positive.
Well, Quian, thank you. We all here that are watching, commenting on this show live, love Southeast Gas Association drag racing. And before we do let you go, I know this year I was not able to attend a single race, which saddens me, as crazy as my schedule was. How was 2023 from a competitive standpoint for SEGA?
I don't know how it could have been any better. We had 4 races that the weather kind of hurt us a little bit, but we went to a new track in Mississippi, and we only lacked 100 spectators of breaking our all-time spectator attendance record. And that's huge for a new track. Normally it takes about 3 years to get a track going because we have to build that market. And then we went to our finals this year and broke the all-time attendance record by, I think, 300 people. It was actually to the point we had too many people. You couldn't get to where you could see the race. With the tracks making $290,000 worth of improvements, and the track owner told me 150,000 of that is new bleachers. The other 100-something thousand is more parking. And the track owner told me, he said, I want you to know that we're spending all this money simply because of the 2 races you have here, because we'll never use this stuff in any of our other events except your event. So they're spending almost $300,000 just preparing for our event in 2024. So 2023 was really, really good. And I have no complaints whatsoever. The performance of the cars were unbelievable. We broke records in every class, I think, twice this year.
Well, Quian, from all of us here on the show and all the racers and
I lost you. I lost you for a second. You there?
Yeah, you're there. You're there. Well, I just want to send you off, Quian. You know, from all of us here on the show, from all the racers and the competitors of SEGA, we all just want to say thank you. Thank you for pouring your heart, your blood, your sweat, and tears of growing something so amazing like the SEGA is, and it's still in great hands with Leslie Horn. And thank you for your time, and we'll see you down the road, Quian.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, I got to say one quick thing. I want to thank you guys, because social media, Competition Plus, people like you is what helped me make it grow. The magazines and Bobby Bennett with Competition Plus has been with me since my pro mod career. So I want to thank everybody, because this was not done by me. There's a whole lot of help. You know, if you want to give me credit for something, give me credit for choosing the right people to surround myself with, because that's what I did. That's my expertise. I chose the right people. So I don't deserve the credit, but I will take the credit for choosing the right people that I needed to make this happen. And that's what, and I want to thank you guys and everybody else that was involved in helping make it what it is today. And I look forward to a brighter future than ever.
Thank you, Quian. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Competition Products, your source for hardcore engine parts for street, strip, and oval track. Our free catalog is packed with hundreds of product lines from the best-known manufacturers in the performance industry. Lowest prices guaranteed. Free shipping and handling on all orders over $149 in the continental U.S. Need expert advice? Our knowledgeable staff is just a phone call away. Competition Products, race parts sold by racers since 1970.
It is absolutely almost miraculous what Quian Stott was able to pull off in a modern day with such strict rules, with the nostalgia flair, what Southeast Gassers drag racing is at this very moment. The only other example like it, I think, in drag racing right now is Funny Car Chaos, and it's on the complete opposite end of the spectrum.
Right.
It's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. Leslie Horn, he chimes in, new owner of SEGA, says, thank you, Quian. Love you, buddy. And Leslie, we should have him at PRI for a Between the Slicks airing there for the performance racing industry show. I also talked to Tim Hall, a repeat champion, one of the first repeat champions in Southeast Gassers Association drag racing yesterday. We'll be having him on Between the Slicks before long as well. It is certainly going to be rolling into a new era, but I definitely think Leslie Horn is the right guy to be taking it into the future, a champion of the Southeast Gassers Association in A-Gas, in one of the most popular cars out there and well-performing cars, the Chick Magnet. And I know that he is a successful businessman in other areas, and I believe he's going to be successful with this promotion as well.
Does he still rap?
Is he bald?
No, does he still rap? Does he still got the bars? Still got the flow? Like back in the day?
Yeah, just as good, just as good, and just as bald as he is.
We need a rap from Leslie Horn talking about his introduction as the new owner of SEGA. We need that.
We need that.
Yeah.
We need that. We do.
We need it. Yes.
I can only imagine the jawing that we will get now with Leslie at the head of it. We'll have full-on wrestling promos with Southeast Gassers Association. That'd be awesome. It'd be epic.
And I hope we don't have to wait long to see a head-to-head matchup between the founder and the new owner of SEGA long in the 2024 season. That'll be a great head-to-head to see.
That probably won't take long. Probably won't take long at all.
Hopefully it don't take long. Yeah.
I don't think it will take long at all. No, I don't think it will take long at all. But what a great organization, and it's got a bright future ahead of it. And certainly, no doubt, Quian and his stamp on it, that plaque, if you will, being on the foundation, as he said, that will never be forgotten. He, is the Wally Parks, the Bill France Jr. of this type of drag racing in the modern day.
Well, you know what? And the man, I mean, you heard the way he ended his interview, giving credit to everybody else, all the people that he put together to support this series and to help it grow. But he is always, it seems like he's almost humble to a fault. I mean, this is somebody that you're talking to that not only created this series, but that's just the second chapter of, most people don't really remember his IHRA days or how good he was in IHRA Pro Mod. In the 19 years that he competed, that was in IHRA up until 2008. Then he switched to ADRL, PDRA, and then finally ended in XDRL. In 14 full-time seasons in IHRA, he finished top 10 in points every year that he ran. He won with nitrous, he won with a blower, and he was a 2006 champion. He was a IHRA Sportsman of the Year award winner, which meant basically his sportsmanship and the way that he conducted himself amongst his fellow racers in the year 2000. He was 1997 Pro Driver of the Year award winner. The man is 7th on the all-time win list in IHRA Pro Mod competition. He did it all himself. He tuned the car. He went out there and made it happen, conquered his dream. And he got to the point where he was like, you know what? Like he started his interview. These cars pretty much drive themselves. I want to go back to my roots where I started with my 67 Camaro all those years ago in high school with a small block and a 4-speed. Let's make a series out of that. I think that'd be cool to go back and do that. And not only did he do that, but he found people to follow him and join in and help him do it. He found the crowds. The cars are awesome. The show is awesome. The everything around it. So, props to the man. He may be humble in his accomplishments, but he's accomplished quite a bit in his drag racing career, and it's glad to see it come full circle. And I hope he is behind the wheel again and gets to enjoy that thrill. And I wouldn't be surprised if he did put a couple of wins together too with as good a driver as he is. I don't think you lose that. You don't lose your 40 years of driving talent and driving ability. And I hope he's out there competing next year, and I hope we get down there to one of the events to see him because they put on a great show.
They do. Yes, maybe now he won't pass the scales. I've had to answer that I don't know how many times on my coverage of that particular race. I'm like, why did he pass the scales? Like, can you not figure it out? I mean, come on, people. Come on. Okay. So he can definitely still get it done in the Kermit car, the Green Doodlebug against the Chick Magnet, and all those other fabulous rides that are out there in the Southeast Gassers Association. It is certainly spectacular drag racing, but it's a car show in and of itself with those racing machines themed out, painted well, and I think some of the best backup girls in all of drag racing. They're always themed out themselves and looking classy. It is a good show at a SEGA race, and they race. I mean, there is hardly any downtime at a SEGA race. It is spectacular.
So now, as we talk about growth to the future, and we've got opposite ends of the spectrum with door cars and with funny car chaos. When's the first combo race?
Hey, I talked to Leslie Horn briefly last night, and I did not get it out of my mouth because he's like, hey, I got to go. We'll talk later. But Leslie, I know you're watching. Look, we got to work it out somehow. There needs to be a Chris Graves, Leslie Horn, Funny Car Chaos, Southeast Gassers Association coming together in a ultimate outlaw drag racing ticket.
Yes.
For all the masses that love
Somewhere in the
it.
Midwest, because I don't want to drive far. Midwest, please.
Yeah, okay. Hey, you know what I think would be a great place? I don't know how it would work out. You talk about Midwest, you got Southeast Gassers. Funny Car Chaos is kind of a central-based program for the country. I think Bowling Green.
Bowling Green would be good. It'd be a good, safe track.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
With that throwback feel, yet big enough because of what it can handle, great air. That would be cool to see.
Just don't do it in the summertime, please. Just not in the summer. Oh man, is that place an oven? Let's do it in the fall.
Yeah, fall.
Yeah.
I agree.
Fall. Exhibition race into fall. Next October. Let's go.
I hear you.
After the seasons are over and the championships are decided, let's get together and put on a hell of a show.
My goodness, that would be a busy weekend for me.
Backup girl contests. I mean, you got it would just that would be awesome.
Epic.
A lot of cross promotion that can go on there.
Oh wow, yes. Like fastest gasser versus man, you could do a lot. You could do a lot.
Right.
Yeah, we can dream, but crazier things have happened like Nitro Chaos. So
that is true.
But in all reality, you look at here seems to be the secret sauce right now, other than just that you're so big, you're living on your own self-existence, as it were, and perpetuating it. NHRA, that you have real cars with real racing, or you say, run what you brung. There you go.
Can't disagree with that. And yes, they did mention in the comments, they do it race in November. Yes, you guys are fortunate that you're in the Southeast, so your weather is a lot better, a lot longer. We don't have that luxury up here. Unfortunately, our tracks are covered in snow.
This never happened before. With all three of us on live before, this has never happened. Like, we always have something to say. This is the first time that has ever happened. First time. That's the first time we've all been speechless at one time. That's never happened. Like, we all can go on and on and on forever, but this is the first time it's ever happened. First ever time we've had awkward silence. That's crazy.
Well, I know Darren's always champion. He wants to bring the show all the way out to Southern California. So, I mean, yeah, I guess you can campaign for that too. See what kind of cars you get drawn out of there.
It would be good.
I mentioned this. So there was a Moon Eyes party at Irwindale a few years back, a Moon Eyes Christmas party. And obviously it wasn't on the scale of a Southeast Gassers Association, but they had AFX cars, Super Stocks cars, and going to the 8th mile. And it was a really good show. And I've said this, and Lee can contest to this. We saw this at Pomona. Just our old school West Coast car culture, I think, will fit perfectly with SEGA. So I would definitely love to see that group make their way west, because I think it'll be a big show out here on the West Coast here in California, for sure.
It'd be a hit. And hey, you never know if some guys fit the rules, made cars to fit, some big names out of SEGA, traveled, maybe got some tow money. I mean, Nitro Chaos, Bakersfield.
Right.
I mean, the drag racing world is wide open.
Anyway, obviously the rules are.
It's a good idea, like Lee said. Bring it back to a kind of a fitting period correct track, like a Famoso or a Bowling Green or something that's got that retro feel to it. Just kind of makes you feel like you're back in time, enjoying the show.
Right. I think a place like Cordova would work. Any place like that has got that history to it, but they don't quite have national event level races, because that's where SEGA and Funny Car Chaos, Nitro Chaos really fit the best.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I know they're working on upgrading the facility. Terry McMillan now owns Bunker Hill Drag Strip in Indiana. That's an 8th mile facility, but I don't know. I think they've got concrete walls up now. I don't know if the shutdown area still goes over the road. If you don't have a parachute, you might go over the road into the dirt embankment on the other side. I actually think it went over some railroad tracks. It was an interesting place to race for sure, even only being an 8th mile, but that's another one in consideration. I don't know if SEGA still does race in Southern Indiana. They did have an event that they stopped at down there for some years.
Wagner?
Wagner, I believe it was. Yeah.
Yes. I think it's been 2 years now that they have not run at Wagner.
They have not been back there. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not like
been
completely off the
one to
list.
me at the time,
I could see them making a trip back there in the future, but it's a nice little facility out in the middle of nowhere of Indiana, but it is a nice facility.
There's a lot of things in the middle of nowhere in Indiana.
So with Southern Indiana being so close to Kentucky, do we consider that the South? Well, do we consider Southern Indiana technically the South of America?
Oh, yeah. You get to Indianapolis and South. You may even hear it when you're there for PRI. You get the Southern accents. It doesn't take long.
Because like Bo Butner, I know he's from Southern Indiana, right? Or kind of close to that. Bob Butner. Kind of close to that. Yeah.
Yep.
Bo Butner?
Bob Butner.
Bob Butner?
Yeah, Bob Butner. Yeah.
Yeah, he's down there. Yeah, Wagler. There we go. Wagler. Yeah, Wagler. Yeah, nice facility again, but out in the middle of nowhere. So very nice. Very nice. SEGA got a bright future ahead of it, and what a great history already behind it, preserving drag racing history. I like to say that they are the drag racing reenactors, and they do a good job of it.
For sure. And the way that they go about it with stick shift cars and high wind and small blocks, man, it's cool to, it's cool to hear a nitro car take off or the cackle of a nostalgia top fuel just sitting there idling at the line. But there ain't nothing like a 10,000 RPM small block waiting to just dump the clutch and go, man. That is a sight to behold. Just don't stand too close.
Right. Yes. Do not stand too close. Yes. Yes. It is some great drag racing for sure. Well, gentlemen, anything else concerning the world of drag racing?
No, I think that's pretty much it. And just going back on the weight break thing with Pro Mod and, obviously bringing back the variety and the makes and models, just want to shout out, Ken Cortuccio, he, obviously, had the deal with bringing out the 1955 Chevy last year, obviously it didn't all come together, but I talked to him in Indy and he said, they're making the push to bring that car out in 2024. So I think guys are interested. It's just, is it advantageous for them to do it? So I think there's some interest in it, but like I said, just, if it all works out and, it's in their favor, I think we could see some more variety in the near future. But I know Ken Cortuccio, he's been trying to, make that push forward to, bring more variety back into the class, I would say.
And I'm glad there are those doing that. Let's not forget about Doug Winters, who has championed Chevelle for many, many seasons now.
Yeah.
But you look across the pro mod world, and it seems, as you mentioned, advantageous. It seems more advantageous to race your older body styled machine elsewhere, such as the NMRA, where Ty Tutterow won in a 57 Chevy this year and is the champion. And you also have wild different body variations, such as last year's champion with the wild Corvette body that you see rarely now, though modern. So it does seem to be that it is still yet more advantageous elsewhere than the NHRA.
Bring out a Saratoga. You ever see the old Chrysler Saratoga Pro Mod with the big fins? We have one that runs in Wisconsin in the Chicago Wise Guys, but I think the original one was originated over in Australia when they built the mold and they built that body. That is a wild looking thing.
Hey,
with a big blower sticking out above the roof. Yeah, that would be cool. Bring some of those out.
Top Slammer is cool. Yes. Down under. They got some bad rides. I love how the Australians do some things. It's just they've got it figured out. I need to go to Australia. I need to get down there. Somebody help me to go cover a race, in particular pro methanol, and get down there. So somebody help.
Pro methanol? You mean top? Oh, come on. There's so many good classes over there.
Hey, I love how they do pro methanol down there. It's everything running against each other, including old boy with the Batmobile, right. Pinewood Derby.
Yeah,
I love that thing. I mean, I love it. Yeah, very interesting. It's technically a methanol burning front engine dragster with like this narrow, long funny car body on it. He has found all the loopholes in the rules, and he's leading the points and probably going to win the thing. It's just such an interesting combination. I love it when people look at a rule book and say, "Ha ha!" And he did that.
Kind of reminds me of the Delta Wing. You remember that project when it came out?
Yeah,
to run the sports cars. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lee, this is so it's wintertime here, it's summertime there, so they're getting on with their season. So let's go.
I need to get down there. I already reached out to Fiona Crisp and was like, "Hey, how much does it cost? You know anybody to sponsor me?" So I mean, I'm trying to work some deals, man. Let's go down.
Darren's paying, so we're good.
Oh, wow. I'm not even making out of South Carolina on that.
Hey, you gotta pay me. You gotta pay me good money to ride 18 hours on an airplane and go to Australia. That's first off.
Oh, is that how long the ride is?
18 hours.
Oh, I'll watch it on TV.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'll watch it on TV.
Greg Wilson. His name is Russell Mills. I keep forgetting his name. Love that combination that Russell's got, and he's not new to the class either. If I remember correctly, he's a former champion, and he had a different combination front engine dragster and did well with it. And he's like, I want to do something different, and it's certainly different. I love every time I see it posted on Comp Plus, or I share it to Monday Morning Racer on a press release. There's like no in between. There is like, that's the ugliest thing. Shouldn't even let that on the track. I hate this too. That is freaking awesome, man. And nothing. Like, it is polarizing.
It's kind of like the snowmobiles in America.
Ooh. No comment on that one. I'm, it is wintertime, so the snowmobile people may be watching, so I don't,
No, they're out on their snowmobiles. That's a year-round racing right there.
I got
inside joke, ladies and gentlemen. Inside joke. Sorry, we're bringing you into this inside joke. If you want to see, it's like episode 3 of American Hot Rod Entertainment.
Yeah, look it up.
You
made Darren inside famous.
Inside the NHRA. Yeah, you need.
I will say, the rain did ruin full snowmobile elimination recap on Inside the NHRA this year from Epping, New Hampshire. The rain did ruin that. So,
all right, I do got to answer this. Sherry's asking Lee, just wondering what happened to the chicken outfit and riding with Leslie Horn. I did look at that outfit, and Leslie being owner now, and if I can work out the time, yes, that still needs to happen. Me wearing the chicken outfit and going for a ride in the Chick Magnet. I will do it. Like, look, people think I like Darren. Will I do stuff? Will I do stuff?
You'll do a little shameful things for a little bit of change. Yes.
Yes. There we go.
I knew that's where it was going. You shouldn't have asked that question to that man.
Yeah, you do some shame for a little bit of change.
No shame in my game.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
All right, so back to drag racing news. The other thing that we're going to be looking at now, and I wonder if it's going to change the game since we're talking about the game here. NHRA announced if your vehicle goes faster than 150 miles an hour, you have to have a head and neck restraint of some sort, a helmet sock, or a helmet with a liner in it to be able to help pull it off just in case. And I wonder if those rules are going to really affect some of the super categories in those 160, 70, 80 mile an hour super comp and super gas racers with head and neck restraints, not being able to necessarily look over as much and see what it is that they are looking at in the other lane. Also, some of the guys that run at just these local events that have just fast door cars or fast, cars in general, not to say that you shouldn't already have it. Don't get me wrong. This is not a knock on a safety component. You definitely need to have safety component, but do you guys think that might be a little overkill for the weekly racer who happens to run that time and speed?
No, I do not think it's overkill. I think it is something that is overdue. And if you already don't have one, shame on you. Stop thinking it won't happen to you. Safe yourself up and get prepared for the worst. I've had many conversations with many drivers, and the fact of the matter is that safety rules are there to preserve your life, but oftentimes they do not go so far to keep in mind preserving the quality of your life. And there is a difference between those two. Safe it up even more than you can. I think a rule that should be mandated is shrouds for top alcohol funny car, just like nitro. I really do. I don't know why. Why not? Like what is the problem? And we've seen enough bad methanol burner fires here lately that it should be a part of the rules package, in my opinion. Yes, I don't drive a car. I don't own a car, but I am very concerned about the safety of these drivers. I witnessed one of the worst methanol funny car fires probably ever at the Texas Motorplex, and I really think if there was a shroud involved, it might have been better for the individual that was involved. And if a motor plate can be burned through by a fire in a top alcohol funny car, yeah, that's pretty serious.
Well, and I will say this. I mean, obviously you have to, it's hard because you come up with a threshold and you come up with a number, and it's like, where do you start that number when it comes to safety? Because racing the car that I did, we are on a good day, 970s, 980s. In the heat, 990, 10-0. You know what? If it's a hot day and the car's only running 10-0, that doesn't mean that, okay, well, I'm below the threshold of 999, so I'm not going to wear the pants and I'm not going to wear the gloves and I'm not going to wear the neck collar. I'm just going to do a jacket and a helmet because that's all that's required because I'm not going quick enough. The stuff can happen at any point in time. You know what the difference between a 999 and a 1001 is? Nothing. When you hit the wall, you hit the wall. And you need to have the stuff there because if that thing catches fire or whatever the case may be, I always wanted to be protected. And I know they always used to, why are you putting the pants on? It's 100 degrees out and you're only running 1020s. Well, you know what? You never know what's going to happen. I got them. They're there for a reason. It's part of the, why do we have the roll cage overbuilt? It's certified to 750 and we're running 970. You can never lack on safety, in my opinion. So I'm glad that you answered the way that you did. And I hope that people aren't upset that they may have to buy a new helmet or wear a headstock or start looking into these head and neck restraints. That is way more of a safety item than having to have your seatbelts recertified every 2 years, which is another story.
It astounds me what you will see racers try to get away with. And sadly, I think drag racing is one of the worst when it comes to racers not taking care of themselves. There's a video that is stuck in my mind. This gentleman is in a Fox Body Mustang. It's a quick machine, and it's a small tire machine. Goes out there, it turns, he plants the nose in the wall, it bursts into flames. He has to crawl out of it through the flames, does so as quickly as possible. He's wearing tennis shoes and jeans, just a jacket. And no offense, but no. Offensively, how stupid can you be? I don't get it. I don't go. Look, talk to Lyle Barnett. Ask him. Go talk to these people who've been through things like, just be safe. Go beyond.
I'd rather have it and not need it than be sitting there cooking.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing to not realize that there could be a problem. And after an incident, you realize, oh, we have a problem, let's implement. But there are many rules that I think could be implemented that really drivers need to take it upon themselves to implement for their own safety, even though it's not a rule. Look, why do Top Fuel dragsters have no padding inside the cockpit for the driver's legs compared to something like F1 or IndyCar? There's nothing. Nothing is mandated. You don't have to have any padding on a roll bar, nothing. And, Doug Foley, who I've worked for, he broke his leg because he hit that bar up there in Toronto. I mean, I know some drivers are thinking about putting padding in and taking that next step and to preserve that quality of life, if you will. But why isn't that mandated? Why do we got to bicker about weight with nitro cars doing 330 plus miles per hour and doing 360s in 1,000 feet? Really? Come on. I don't know.
Well, the train of thought might be if you're going that fast and you hit the wall, there probably ain't going to be much that's going to save you anyway. But
maybe so. Maybe so. I don't know. I don't know.
That was dark.
I don't know if do they have the foot boxes in the cars? Do they still have that encapsulation in the top fuel dragster? I haven't seen one in a long time, but the only reason I bring it up, and since you mentioned earlier in the show, Murph McKinney, he had built a car for Corey Mack in 2000 that had a aluminum encased foot box or titanium encased foot box after Tony Schumacher's accident, where he went into and over the wall and broke his legs and feet because that's where the chassis was designed to break apart. But for that very reason, like you said about Doug, they were flopping around and bouncing around and exposed. And you need every protection that you can have. Anything that can work in your favor. I feel like anybody should take the opportunity to do that, and don't look at it as a hindrance, and don't look at it as, well, I can't turn my head as far. I can't, I've seen in-car videos of some of these bracket racers. Their seatbelts are so loose, they're like this, looking over out the window. And it's like, come on. What is it that important to win the race? Like, if you can't run the number, you don't need to be running the car then. You don't need to be playing and sandbagging and looking over your shoulder to see if the guy's coming.
Yep. Right. And on that, for bracket racers, if you back up your little super comp dragster like it's a top field dragster, you best expect to get filmed like your top field driver, by the way. There's that.
Yes. And if a camera in your face is going to make you red light, you ain't concentrating hard enough anyway.
He said it.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I said it. I mean, come on now. It just is what it is.
It is what it is. I agree.
Hey, there's plenty of Larry Dixon backing up, and he's pointing to the camera like, hey, I'm taking it all in. Put the camera in my face. He's pointing at the camera like just like this from backing up as the burnout.
Hey, and I will say there at that event there were many bracket racers. They're like, man, we're on camera. We like this, and they were thumbs up, and hey man, no, there's just tuned out, and that was cool. I mean, Dallas Glenn still doesn't know I was there. As focused as that man was, I have never seen so much focus out of a driver. I mean, he locked in. But be safe, people. Just be safe. And you know what? Can I? While we're on it, and I'm a bit of a stickler because I have been the PPE guy at a job site and on a manufacturing floor. Man, be safe on the road. Be safe at home. Take time to realize that you are in this vessel one time, and try to keep all your members and everything to have the best quality of life that you can. All right. Just be safe out there. Be safe.
No, for sure. I echo all those sentiments. Like today, I was at an artificial turf installation class today, trying to get certified. And one of the main things they did, not just the installation part, was to be safe. When you have your knife, make sure to put your knife up, put your knife away. Don't sit on the nails. Make sure you know where your nails are at, just stuff like that. So safety is always important in anything you do here in this life. Like you said, we're only here once, so want to make it count.
Yes. And I think it would be safe, before we run out of things to say and this show goes really off the rails, that we take the time to say thank you to everyone for watching, liking, commenting, and sharing, but we end the show. Dave Lesowski, good to have you on. Darren Williams Jr., co-host here, always pleasure. And folks, lots of coverage to come from the competition booth at PRI next week.
Yeah, it should be a fun show. Like I said, my first one, gonna take it all in, with the, meeting people, networking, making connections. So I'm really looking forward to it. Looking forward to the shows that we're gonna do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and gonna take it all in. Should be a lot of fun. Can't wait to get back to Indiana. Indiana's a lot of fun. Really fun state.
Home in Indiana.
Jesus.
You are definitely not Jim Neighbors, so we'll just end it there.
Yeah, I don't even know who that is, Dave. I don't know who that is. I don't know who Jim Neighbors is. So,
that's okay. We don't expect you to, but
yeah,
it is a Indianapolis 500-mile tradition to have back home again in Indiana. Unfortunately, as close as you'd be to the Speedway, I would recommend going to see the museum, but I believe it is still closed for construction because they are renovating it.
Redoing it.
But if you've never been, that'd be a thing to see. But since you're close enough in Indiana, you might as well just come see me. It's not that far away.
I've been to the museum. I've been before.
Did
I
you
want
go?
to do the I went to the museum. Lee took me when I was out there last year. But
Oh,
I want to do
didn't know you
the
guys went. Oh, great.
yeah. I want to do the tour around the speedway though. Do they still have the tram? Is that going on around the
That
speedway?
may still be going on. I don't know how long it goes on in the winter. I don't know.
No, we were there in the wintertime and took it. So
You did?
I
Okay.
think it goes on year round. Yeah.
Okay.
And I gotta go back to Charlie Brown's too. I had to go get there again.
Yep, Charlie Brown's. It's a must.
I gotta do it again. Yeah.
It's a must.
So it's a lot of fun. Plus Waffle House too. Waffle House also. That's another must. Waffle House. So
White Castle.
ew. See, you had to ruin it. White Castle. That is the most god awful burgers I ever had in my life. Jesus. To everybody who likes White Castle, I'm sorry. It's disgusting. Disgusting.
Oh, wow. Ladies and gentlemen, to each and every one of you, good night.
Good night, everybody.